It's podcast o'clock. Hi everyone, welcome to Oma Diary. My name is Oma. You're very sweetheart on radio, TV, social media, sweetheart everywhere. How are you? Glad to have you join me on this podcast. It's been an interesting time, and I caught up with Israel Orji from Solace Hub. He's been up to a lot of things, and we had to discuss HIV, the journey so far on HIV and everything. Considering the fact that I just returned from a training organized by Journalists Against AIDS, that's JAID, in collaboration with Living Health International, and which was actually sponsored by PEPFAR under the office of the US government. It was a week-long training for journalists in Southeast, South on the journey so far on HIV. It was really an eye-opener, and I had this interview with Israel Orji, and he revealed quite a lot, with special emphasis on teenagers and how teenagers can actually help themselves to prevent HIV and the journey so far. Just take a listen, and I will see you at the other side of it.
Loving somebody and somebody loves you back. My sweetheart on radio.
I'm Oma. You're very sweetheart on radio, TV, social media, sweetheart everywhere. 24 Show is that program we've created for young ones where we discuss issues. A lot of teenagers, they have a lot of issues, and we bring in people from different walks of life, and they talk about different aspects that concerns teenagers. Today on the program is going to be an amazing outing because we went deep. If I tell you the sacrifice this young man had to make to be here, these are some of the things that people do. I'm like, oh wow, amazing. First of all, Israel Orji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming all the way. Thank you. First of all, thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Now, Israel came all the way from Ebonyi State. He was at a program. We've already booked that he's going to be here on this platform today for an important discussion we want to have. As at the time I spoke with him yesterday, he told me he was in Ebonyi State, but he promised, because of how important what we want to discuss is, Israel came all the way from Ebonyi State and landed in the live studios of Radio Sapiencia. Once again, Israel Orji, thank you so much for coming. So Israel, tell us the name. There's this organization, your organization. Briefly, tell us your organization and what you do.
Okay, I work with the Black Care and Support Foundation.
Okay.
It's an organization that works for people with living with HIV,
okay,
and other marginalized groups.
Okay.
I'm also the founder of Solace Hub. Solace Hub looks at reproductive health for young people.
Okay.
Because we know that most of these things are not discussed in our home.
Yeah.
So find a way to actually bring it to younger people.
Okay.
Equally, the State Assistant Secretary for Child Protection Network.
Oh.
Things about children are also close to my heart.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. So, can you give us a brief overview of what you've achieved so far in the time that you've worked in these different capacities?
Okay, I probably work with Catch the Young Community Initiative.
Oh.
So it's also around bringing young people into governance and making them politically
aware. Okay.
Yes, we led the Vote Not Fight for the Southeast.
Yeah, I remember that time.
Yes,
that time I contacted you. We wanted to do something thereabouts. Okay.
Yes. We led the Vote Not Fight, and we've also led other issues. Currently, we are leading the youth-led electoral reform. Okay. Because we know about politics, lots of young people are no longer interested.
Yes.
That is what we are doing now. Because it's then around HIV, we've tested lots of young persons.
Oh wow!
We also pioneered HIV self-test kits.
Okay.
For the states where people can stay in the comfort of their home
and test.
Yes, and test.
Okay.
We also do special awareness around pre-exposure prophylaxis and post-exposure prophylaxis. Those are drugs that can actually help us to prevent HIV. Okay. Yeah. So, also around child protection, we also conduct advocacies to make sure that young people have access to their voice.
Okay.
To be able to discuss most things that are crucial to them.
Oh, beautiful. And you know, the major reason you're here is for us to talk HIV.
Yes.
You know, because we've been having this conversation, and you revealed a shocking information to me. All right. But first of all, let's start with, because some young people may think whenever you talk about HIV, they'll be like, oh, I'm not involved, you know. But apart from making them to be aware of HIV, we're also trying to stop the stigma against HIV. But first of all, let's start with having an overview of what HIV is all about.
Okay, so HIV means, it's an acronym,
okay,
which means human immunodeficiency virus.
Okay.
All right, meaning simply that it's a disease that affects the immune system.
Okay.
So once your immune system is compromised and you don't treat it, you don't take drugs, over time it could lead to AIDS.
Okay.
You understand, and become critical. So it's something that most people do not know that it's still there. Some people still not believe it's a myth.
Yeah.
But for us that are into the development work, that specifically testing people with support from our partners, we know that this is a crucial issue for us. People are getting infected every day.
Yeah.
And it's actually something that is stoppable. And people are all equally dying from AIDS-related deaths, and I also believe it's something that is stoppable.
Okay.
And of recent, I would say that anybody that dies of HIV or AIDS-related death needs to be flogged.
Right.
You understand?
Right. Why do you say they need to be flogged?
Well, if I have malaria, to go and buy drugs, I spend my money. If I have cancer, if I have diabetes, all these things, I spend my money to do this. But HIV treatment is free.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
You see free treatment. You go for checkups, those checkups are free, you understand? And if you take your drugs as you should, within the short period of time, you should be able to reach undetectable viral load, meaning that you will not be able to transmit it to another person.
You is equal to you, okay?
You understand? So that means you will not be able to transmit it to another person. And some research was equally even backing it up that even most people that are HIV positive are living younger than people that do not have HIV.
Oh, wow.
Reason being that if I have HIV, I already know that every 3 months or every 6 months, as the case may be, I'll go to the hospital and I get to talk with a doctor.
Okay.
You understand? I get to have my body check up and every other thing. But a healthy person will believe, I'm healthy. Why do I need to see a doctor? You understand? But for you that has HIV, you are going to hospital. We are not encouraging people to get infected. You understand? But what I'm trying to say is that it shouldn't be a stigma.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the end to your life. You understand? Yes, people.
Okay, let's look at the modes of transmission of HIV. Which modes? What are the modes, the general modes of transmission of HIV that we should be aware of? Okay, go ahead.
So there are different methods of transmission of HIV. The major one being sexually transmitted. You understand? Through sexual intercourse with an infected person.
Okay.
You understand? Especially without protection. There's also transmission by sharing sharp objects. You understand? Most times, we patronize roadside pedicures and manicures, and for those that fix with ones. You understand? You don't have your own needles. You understand? There's also those that also inject drugs.
Okay.
You understand? I inject drugs, I also give you. We are sharing sharp objects. You understand? So, as long as you share sharp objects that are not sterilized and that is already infected, you stand a high chance of getting infected. You understand? Then, from an infected mother to the unborn child. You understand?
Okay.
During childbirth, during breastfeeding.
Okay.
You understand? There's also transmission through unscreened infected blood. You understand? There's also around transplants of organs and the rest of them.
Okay.
But the major one is always around sexual intercourse. I believe that is what brings about the
stigma. The stigma. Okay, so Israel, we are looking at how it concerns teenagers. Right? We are talking about teenagers because this program is for teenagers. Now, let's look at your experience so far with HIV prevalence among teenagers, especially here in Anambra State, because you work in Southeast, right?
Yes.
Okay, but let's start with Anambra State. What's some teenagers that you found out that they are HIV positive? How did it come about, and how are they coping with it?
Okay, most teenagers sometimes are usually around mother to child.
Okay, mother to child.
side,
Okay.
we see a lot of young people that probably the parents were not aware, or the parents are aware and they decide to go to traditional birth attendants.
Oh wow! There are still people that go to traditional birth attendants to give birth.
So what we're doing is also trying to sensitize traditional birth attendants. You understand?
Okay.
Then there are also issues around children that are molested. Sometimes we make it uncomfortable to discuss things around sexual purity within our household, and even when even when our children experience these things, it becomes uncomfortable for them to discuss.
You're talking about teenagers that were raped.
Yes.
Okay.
You understand? It becomes difficult for them to actually discuss.
Speak up.
You understand? And it's actually preventable in issues like this where children are raped. You understand? If within 72 hours this person is able to get to the nearest public health facility, this person can be placed on post-exposure prophylaxis, and if they are taken correctly, the chances of infection is highly reduced.
Okay.
So Anambra State has the highest HIV prevalence in Southeast.
Wow.
Understand? That is what most people do not know. We have a lot of burden of HIV on our health facilities, and there's a lot of work to do, especially as it relates to continuous awareness.
Okay.
It just seems, while we were growing up, we see people coming out on the radio, on the TV to talk about I'm HIV positive. You understand? And it just seems as if everything has fizzled away, and we just believe HIV is now the thing of the past. You understand? But there's still need for us to actually keep giving that reorientation, keep raising awareness around HIV, especially as it relates to young people. Young people, at least from 30 to 24 years, they are usually at high risk.
At high risk. Yes. But what can a young person do, like a teenager who finds out, that he or she is HIV positive, probably from mother to child? What can they do? Because sometimes it's kind of devastating, right?
Yes, it is. You understand? And oftentimes it becomes as if this person is alone in the world. You understand? So what we do is, first of all, to try to link up this person to a support group.
Okay.
You understand? A support group for persons living with HIV. At least you're able to discuss with other person, share idea, have peer-to-peer counseling, and you're seeing that I'm not the only one. You understand? So from having that kind of mentorship and having somebody that shares the same burden with you, it becomes easier. You understand? Then another one is around adherence. You understand? Because it's also difficult to adhere to drugs, especially taking drugs every day of your life. You understand? So we also try to use those support groups to look at proper adherence to ARV, because if you're taking your drugs and you stop at some point, there are chances of resistance to those drugs, you understand, and also having chances of getting other co-infections and all those things. So it's always necessary. Support group first of all, so that you can have peer-to-peer counseling, you understand, and ongoing counseling to affect your drugs.
Okay, all right. So let's come to, before we come to the preventive measures, let's come to the stigma. Like I told you, I reached out to someone who has been living with HIV, and she said to me, she doesn't want her secret out. When this lady told me, I hope you're not going to let my secret out, she first of all wanted to know whether it was going to be TV or radio. I told her that it's not going to be TV, that it's going to be on radio. She said, okay, it's okay, no problem. You see that stigma attached to HIV related cases. What can we do as a people to help people living with HIV to live a better life?
Okay, there are a lot of things, you understand, and sometimes we don't know some. Nigeria have some wonderful laws, you understand, and policies that also deters people from revealing your HIV status.
Okay, please tell us about it.
So, for example, unlawful disclosure of status of people living with HIV and AIDS will attract a fine of 500,000.
Oh wow!
An individual. So, if you as an individual reveals Israel's HIV status, you understand, you can pay up to 500,000 naira or jail term. Or an organization, you understand, reveals this HIV status of their staff. You understand, this person can pay up to 1 million naira. You understand. And for organizations that employ people. If you have up to 5 staff in your organization, you should be able to have HIV work policy.
Okay.
You understand that makes the place conducive for persons living with HIV.
Okay.
You understand? We cannot transmit HIV by sharing the same bed, eating from the same plate, using the same toilet. You understand?
Even shaking hands.
Even shaking hands. Even hugging.
Even hugging.
You understand? And the truth about it is that I think most of these issues of new incidents of HIV, it's around this stigma and discrimination.
True.
If I come to a public health facility and I'm discriminated, there are chances that I will not go back there.
Okay.
So if I was taking my drug, that means I may stop taking my drugs. And if my viral load, that is the number of virus in my system, are elevated, that means my chances of transmitting to the next person is increased. You understand? So I think a lot has to do around stigma and discrimination.
Okay. Now, individually, what can we do differently to, like, for example, there is this woman that I found out that she's HIV positive through unscreened blood transfusion. It was when she was giving birth that she got blood transfusion, and later on she found out that she's HIV positive. For such a person, she will still be suffering stigma. So what can we do as apart individuals to understand that someone who has HIV, that it's not a death sentence, that the person is not morally wrong and all that, bankrupt and all that? And again, I'm asking you 2 questions. What can we do to ensure to stop? Because from all incidents, HIV seems to be like a social ill health. Like, it has more of social connotation than it has the biological illness itself. What can we do differently? I'm asking you 2 questions now.
All right. So I think I'll take it one after the other.
Okay.
So I'll start with the last one. What we can do differently, I think the major issue started with people that brought up the issue around HIV to us. You understand? You get it through sexual intercourse. You understand? So afterwards, you understand, to take out sexual intercourse from HIV has become
a challenge.
An issue and a challenge. You understand? So the first thing could be actually the reorientation. You understand? You see most people, and the truth about it is, yes, even though we say that HIV is primarily gotten through HIV, most of the people that are infected do not know when and how they actually got infected.
Okay.
Yes, you might not have been protecting yourself when you are having any other sexual intercourse. However, there are also chances that you might have gotten it when you went to have your haircut. You understand? Or when you went to fix your weave on. You understand? So that is it. Actually reorienting, giving people that reorientation, you understand, raising that awareness that it could be gotten through exchange of bodily fluid, and bodily fluid can be exchanged in various means beyond the sexual intercourse. I think that removing that taboo, you understand. Secondly, again, it's also having our religious leaders to also bring in their voice to it.
Okay.
You understand. I usually tell people that even when they've gone to a church and they'll be prayed for and told that they are now HIV negative, please continue taking your drugs.
Okay.
You understand? Because if taking my drugs, there are sometimes that if you've taken your drugs for a while, that there are possibility that if you go to test, the test might be reading negative. You are not negative. It just shows that the virus in your system is just so negligible that the test will not find it. And most times it becomes a leeway to say, you are healed, and you stop taking your drugs. Please, can we have our religious leaders, our traditional leaders, to also put in their efforts towards educating people around issues around HIV.
Okay.
I think that is the primary way to actually get people to know that it's not everybody that has HIV is not because they are promiscuous.
Okay.
Some people are just like they got married as a virgin and they got infected in their husband's house when they went to give birth. You understand? Probably by unsterilized sharp objects or they were transfused blood or any other.
Okay, so let's look at the preventive measure. We are referring to teenagers. So how can we prevent HIV when it comes to teenagers? Okay.
Abstinence. You understand? Yes. I would say that there's no other major ways. You understand? If we are looking at the other sexual aspect, please abstain from every sexual intercourse until you're married. You understand? And when you're married, remain in a committed relationship with your partner. You understand? However, beyond abstinence, there's also other ways of preventing. We have people we call discordant couples.
Okay.
You understand? Meaning that probably the wife is negative and the husband is positive. You understand? The wife can be placed on pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Okay, that's a drug.
A drug, you understand, that the person takes every day in order to prevent the person from getting HIV.
Okay.
You understand? Then there are also issues around rape. Around last year, there were issues around insecurity at Ifite, around the school area, and lot of
that case.
Yes. There are a lot of girls were raped, and what we did was we referred some to Ntasi Center, and beyond Ntasi Center, there are lots of public health facilities, including ours, that provide post-exposure prophylaxis, meaning that I've been exposed in one way or the other. You understand? I've been raped. I had a blood splash in my eye while I was trying to test somebody and all those things. You understand? This person has taken post-exposure prophylaxis. You understand? It's for a short duration. You understand? And these are ways. Then, if you are a guy, please get your own clipper. If you're a girl, get your own needle. You understand? They are not that expensive compared to lifelong taking of drugs. You understand? Get your own needles. If you must go for a pedicure, get those things. You understand? Sharing sharp objects. If we can't share towels with people or share toothbrush, why
are we sharing sharp objects? Yes. Very, very important. As we wrap it up right now, you said something that the number of HIV cases in Anambra State is on the high side. Please, do you have the statistics?
Yes, I have statistics.
Please, can you tell us?
I wouldn't want to quote them. You understand? So, but when we talk about HIV prevalence, it's not just the new cases. You understand? Okay. We're talking about both the people that are already on drugs and the new cases. Okay. You understand? Yes, we have had a lot of people that are previously on drugs. So we're calculating every person that has already been on drugs and the new cases. The new cases are fewer, you understand, yes, but we're looking at ensuring that we do not have newer cases. Let us remain where we are. Have those people that are already on drugs to be on drugs and not have new cases. New cases,
okay. Please, can you talk more on 95, 95, 95?
Okay, so there's what we call 95, 95, 95. You understand? Meaning that we want to have 95% of everybody in Anambra State to get tested. That is why we are having, apart from the normal national algorithm of HIV testing, we are now having HIV self-test kits. Now we test you, we give to you, share to your partners, let everybody know their HIV status. So now, after you've known your HIV status, we want to know that 95% of those that now know their HIV status are on drugs. Let them take their drugs. And now those 95% of those that are already on drugs, they achieve viral suppression. Because if we do all these things, I don't even agree 95, 95, 95. I want 100%. Let everybody know their status. Let everybody that know their status be on drugs. And let everybody that is on drug achieve viral suppression. Because if all of us that are on drugs in Anambra State, or everybody that is HIV positive are on drugs and they achieve viral suppression, they will not be able to transmit to others.
Right. Thank you so much. We've run out of time. Thank you so much. In 30 seconds, please, can you tell us reasons we should never stigmatize people living with HIV? 30 seconds. 30.
HIV, they show for face. If it be you tomorrow, I beg, protect yourself. You understand? It could be your sister, it could be you. You understand? So if you know the way you want to be treated, if you were HIV positive, please treat others.
Exactly. If you know the way you want to be treated, if you were HIV positive, please treat other people that way. And most importantly, take care of yourself. Avoid using sharp objects. Ensure that you do what you're supposed to do. Most importantly, as a teenager, abstinence is the key. Abstinence is the key. Thank you so much, Israel, for coming through. We look forward to having you. You're still going to come here again because we're still going to talk about the development space, because I want more young people to get into the development space the same way you are in the development space.
I'll be happy to be.
Definitely. All right, that's it from us here on 20 Spot Show. My name is Oma. You're very sweet on radio, TV, and social media.
I am calling you.
It's quite interesting, quite inspirational and motivational. Sexual purity for a teenager. As a young person, as a parent, you should let your teenager know that sexual purity is the way out. All right. And there's so much you can do with your life. Sex is not all, but just know that we need to stop stigmatizing people living with HIV. Stigmatizing them does not make us exceptional. We need to support them, we need to love them, we need to care for them. In that way, we'll make the world a better place. Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast. I am Oma, your very sweetheart on radio, TV, and social media, and I'm signing out here on Oma's Diary. Do have a great time. Bye-bye.
I am calling you, Oma. Make you tuck my pen away.